What's going on, everybody? Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. D-Style Boxing. Here, check it out. Look, I'm not one to get caught up with this whole DC versus Marvel or any of that. I like both, but if you force me to, like, if you told me, "Oh, who's your favorite of all time?" And look, man, I have favorite characters in both, universes, if you want to call it that. But some of my favorites are definitely in Marvel. But I mean, DC, like, for so long was king. You know, DC was a king for so long. I even acknowledged that even when I was younger, and I was a huge, Marvel fan. Um, Now, me personally, I got to be honest. When it comes to comic book characters or any type of character in general, it's I'm not one of those that just goes for the most powerful character or just like like, to me, just making a character extremely powerful is like lazy. It's lazy. Like, anybody could write a story about a very powerful character that's indestructible. Um, to me, it's the characters and the story behind those characters, right? Some of my personal favorite characters are not, these godlike, figures. It's Batman and Deadpool and Wolverine. It's those are the type of characters that I like. You know what I mean. So, but that's a different story. I just finished, and I've watched it before, but I watched it again. I give it another shot. I watched Dawn of Justice again, right? So there was so much hype behind this movie. I mean, Dawn of Justice, Batman versus Superman. See, that was the problem right there, right? That's problem number one. I think most reasonable people will tell you that DC just rushed this shit, right? Like, they wanted to compete instead of just doing their own thing. When DC just does their own thing, they just do better, right? Like when they were making the Dark Knight movies, which to me might not be the best Bruce Wayne, but or I'm sorry, may not be the best Batman voice, I should say, but overall, I think they're the best Batman movies out there, in my opinion. Okay, but when they made the Dark Knight movies, they weren't trying to be like a Marvel movie, or they were just trying to do Batman. They were just trying to retell the story of Batman and Bruce Wayne, right? From Batman Begins to the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises. That's all they were trying to do. And when they do that, they have success. When they just try to tell you the story of Superman or retell it, who happens? That's one of my other favorite characters, right? It's not because he's powerful and he could survive the heat of a supernova. That's not what intrigues me about Superman, right? It's the story of Superman is what's intriguing to me. The character is, right? Not as intriguing as a Batman, in my opinion, but hey. But nonetheless, when they just focus on that, they create iconic characters, right? Christopher Reeves, even when he was on a wheelchair, people knew him as Superman, right? Now, that was what, in the 80s? Okay, 90s, early 90s. But whenever they recreated Superman, they had shows that I didn't even like Smallville and Lewis and Clark, but they were just focusing on their own thing and their own audience. Like, they knew they were targeting teenagers. That's who they targeted, and they did it successfully, right? And they wanted a drama. That they did that successfully. But for some reason, ever since Marvel came up with this great master plan. They made the Iron Man movies and the Spider-Man movies and the Captain America movies and the Hulk movies and, you know, Thor movies, and then they just started to connect it all together to make to bring the Avengers together, make Avenger movies, right? Now you got the Black Panther, and then he got integrated into that, which was a brilliant plan, and obviously it worked. But DC, instead of just doing their own thing, right? They just went on, they just emptied the clip and just rushed this whole Justice League thing. It just feels rushed. You know, I'm watching Dawn of Justice, and I'm like, I get the point, but Batman he's not that stupid. You know, there's no way Batman can't comprehend the fact that Superman was fighting, you know, these aliens from what is it, Krypton? I forget the name of the planet he's from. I'm sorry. And he was doing this to save the planet, and then he's holding this grudge against Superman. I mean, that's such lazy writing right there. That's just like, well, we got to find a way to have Batman face Superman. They got to fight. We got to do it. Like, what? It's absolutely insane. So, like, Batman having this urge, he's just in a hurry to kill Superman because Superman is too powerful. You know, he just saved the entire planet, but he's far too powerful. There's no way we can let him live, right? Batman doesn't have the intelligence to figure this out, right? He can't in any way, shape, and he's not going to talk about it. He's going to go all out. He's going to try to kill this guy. I mean, it's insane. And look, don't get me wrong, there's parts of the movie that I like, but it's like rushed and so unnecessary. Plus, Batman versus Superman. You know, first of all, here's the problem, all right? You just had The Dark Knight. All right? These were very successful movies. Like, people right now, in their heads, when they think Batman, they're thinking that Batman. You know, they're just thinking about the dude that just overcame Bane and shit. Like that's who they're thinking about, right? And people are even wondering, like, oh, are they going to make another one with Robin? And then all of a sudden, you just bring, like, in just a couple years or a year or two, it's announced that Ben Affleck's going to be the new Batman, and it's just a totally different Batman. You can't do that. It's like if Marvel would have made a movie about, you know, Captain America, and then they put like another Captain America who's just a totally different Captain America. And no, I'm not just talking about the guy playing the character. That's not all I'm talking about, right? I'm just talking like the whole, you know, story behind this Batman. It's just different. It's not the same guy. That Ben Affleck guy playing Bruce Wayne, he's not the guy that's not the guy that experienced what he experienced in Dark Knight. So Dark Knight is like, it has nothing to do with this. Okay, fine. So you just start from fresh with his Batman character, and you just rush into this whole him having to fight Superman. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's got to happen now. We got to make a movie about it. Did it help sell tickets? Sure. But did it do what it had the potential of doing? Absolutely not. It was a dumb story. Okay, the storytelling is atrocious. You know, it's, you know, and they try to get this human connection when he saves the little girl, and then the little girl says, oh, my mom was up there, and well, obviously the mom was dead, you know, and apparently in Bruce Wayne's eyes, it's all Superman's fault. You know, you're telling me Bruce Wayne, this master detective, this extremely intelligent individual who is so intelligent he could fight dudes with superpowers. Okay, that's his weapon, his intelligence. You're telling me, right, that he doesn't have the nuance to understand that the mother of this child, as sad as it was, Superman did not in any way, shape, or form intentionally kill the mother of this little girl, okay, for him to give Superman like this mean look, right? I mean, he didn't have the thought process to think, yeah, he had to do that, or this whole planet would have been taken over and it would have been a wrap for planet Earth, right? This is It just pisses me off that this lazy writing took place just because they wanted to have a scene where Batman faced off with Superman, right? They could have done Batman versus Superman, but you had to reintroduce this new Batman to people. That's number one, right? You had already done that with Man of Steel. They obviously took off from there, right? You randomly just bring Batman to the mix, all right, just out of nowhere. and then, I mean, and he just come up with a stupid reason as to why Batman wants to end Superman, right? And then you throw Lex Luthor into there, right? They're throwing so much shit into there, right? They find a way to cram Wonder Woman in there, right? And they find like a lame reason as to why they're foreshadowing why they're going to put the Justice League together. I mean, it's just so lazy and forced and rushed. You know, that's what it was. You had Wonder Woman. They should have made another Wonder Woman movie, right? In a little more modern times, right? And you could have had Superman make a cameo appearance or something, and Bruce Wayne make another cameo appearance. And then you could have done another Man of Steel movie, all right? And you could have started to tie things into there, make a movie about Flash, tie things into there. I mean, it's if you're going to try to copy Marvel, then at least do it right. You know, like at the very least, do it right. But my thing is, this, I mean, I cannot believe in any way, shape, or form, if you were going to make Superman versus Batman, it should have been when there was already a Justice League, right? And you have Superman do something crazy, like kill Flash or something like that. I know that'll be very controversial, okay? But Superman gets corrupted, right? Because the only scenario, all right, that I'm aware of, unless there's some new stories out there in the comics, that Batman, no, make no mistake about it, Batman did have a plan in case Superman became corrupt, right? In case Superman one day became evil or got controlled or whatever. Okay, that dude has kryptonite in his Batcave, right? You could have done the whole thing with him getting the kryptonite, okay? You could have had like something going on, some storyline where Superman's wondering why the hell you have that kryptonite, right? I mean, they could have done something with that, and if they would have had a story where Superman became corrupted in some way, shape, or form, right, or became controlled in some movie down the line, and then you could have done like Batman has no fucking choice but to fight Superman at that point. It would make sense. He has to. I mean, everything he's been planning a possible fight with Superman down the line in case he became corrupted. Okay, it would have been nice and planned out, and we're going to see if it's going to work or not. They could have done something with that, but no. You know, they just had to rush it. They just had to make it in this dumb movie. Okay, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Making Superman, I mean, the reason they had Batman want to kill Superman is stupid, right? It's just, honestly, it's dumb. You know, how the hell does an intelligent individual like Batman not understand everything I just explained to you about why all that carnage and damage happened? All right. You would think he would be an advocate for Superman, right? You would think he would try to reach out to him and try to understand, hey, well, what happened here? But no, you know. And then not only so, they just emptied the clip. Now, I don't know if Doomsday's going to come back or not, but you can't go from Doomsday to, like, where do you go from there, man? This is insane. You know, it's like Avengers had started like part one. They would have just started that shit with Thanos and shit, and the Infinity Rings, like just right out the bat. You know, you can't go from that to Ultron. You just can't. And then you can't go from that to like Thor's brother and shit, Loki. No, like you can't empty the clip like that. You don't just start off with Doomsday like that. Doomsday's not a dude that just pops up and you know, It was just too much emptying of the clip. They emptied the clip with Batman versus Superman. They can't do that anymore. They emptied the clip with Doomsday. They can't do that anymore. They found a way just randomly. It's, I know she came out in the middle of the movie and stuff. I know there's a little more to it, but I mean, it's kind of like she just pops up in the towards the end of the movie to help them fight Doomsday. You know, Wonder Woman, right? And then you have to ask yourself, where was Wonder Woman, right? When, like in the movie Man of Steel, this is how you know this shit was rushed, right? Wouldn't she have been aware that these aliens were showing up and like doing some serious damage like that? You know, why did she pop up then to help Superman? I mean, they don't explain this, okay? That's where the continuity here is atrocious. It's horrible. So they did that. They emptied the clip with that. They emptied the clip with Doomsday. You know, like, I mean, I'm like, well, where are they going to go from there? You know, like, well, what's the point now? Like, it's like you fought, and then not only that, they also emptied the clip with Superman dying. You know, so Superman died, Superman versus Batman, okay, and then Doomsday comes out. I mean, they talk about emptying the clip, right? I mean, like damn, you know, now they got nothing left. They got nothing left, right? They sold the farm in the first movie. That's why the movie Justice League is trash. Sorry, it's a trash movie. I'm sorry. All right. I mean, and I'm not a dude that just hates DC. These are some great characters. You know, I don't get how they could mess this up that bad. You didn't have to make a Justice League movie, right? In fact, if DC would have waited, okay, and they would have just kept making, like, you know, a Batman here, a Wonder Woman here and there, and people would have started demanding, right? The perfect moment to strike would have been when the Avengers is done, right? That would have been the perfect moment to strike. But no, you got to do it around the same time of doing the Avengers. We got to do it now. We got to go hard. And then they think people are stupid. Like, okay, we're gonna have a bunch of explosions, and we're gonna just start with Doomsday right off the bat. Like, it's just Doomsday. Like, are you shitting me? Now you can't go from Doomsday to, you know, who are they going to go with next? Like, who's left that could compare to that level of power? It's stupid. Plus, as I mentioned, man, if they would have done the Justice League, and in one of those movies, Superman became corrupted, right, and ended up killing one of the other Justice League members, and Batman was then forced, right, to have to fight a corrupted, evil Superman as the major underdog, but he has that kryptonite. That would have been an epic fucking movie, all right? That would have been epic as shit. But no, you have to. They fought for like Superman didn't even want to fight. I mean, that's how dumb this shit was. All right, Superman was like, "Hey, can we just talk?" And of course, you know, Bruce Wayne, this intelligent detective, just starts striking him with like what was the first attack anyway? Like an electric thing, right? Like, I don't know. So he just starts attacking Superman, and Superman's still not interested in fighting. He just wants to talk. Like, this is retarded. Like, he's just trying to talk to Batman, okay, while he's getting attacked for like the first 2 minutes of that quote unquote fight, right? And of course, Batman then pisses him off. They go at it, right? He starts beating up on Batman, but then Batman's got the kryptonite, and it's just so predictable, right? And in the end, just because, right, he's hell bent on killing this motherfucker. He's about to kill him, right? But because he said, what was the name? I forgot. Martha, right? Because he said Martha, and that's his mother's name. It triggered something, and he really wanted to know why he said that name. You know, it's just dumb, man. This whole thing is just stupid. What a letdown, right? In fact, when they announced it, oh, we're going to do Batman versus Superman, I knew it was a mistake, right? I knew it was a mistake. I just knew it. It made no sense, right? None. Anyway, yeah. So they emptied the. So let's just recap really quick. And what's up to the chat, right? I mean, talk about emptying the clip. Like, oh, look what they're doing over there. It's like it looks so obvious. It's like so obvious that you're trying to copy Marvel. Like that's the amazing part. Instead of having people demand it, right? Like if you would have withheld the Justice League once the Avengers is done, like people would have been like, "Yo, we want to see it. We want to." They would demand it. People would have demanded a Justice League movie. It's but no, we got to copy Marvel. It's like so obvious what they're trying to do. It's freaking insane. All right, Mr. Doc, what's up, bro? DC's animations are better than their live action material. Oh, yes, they are. I like those kind of down to earth heroes too. When it comes to power characters that I like, it's almost always that they're bizarre and abstract concept involved. Mr. Doc also says, I still like that Keaton Batman best. Yeah, my Keaton's cool. Batman vs Superman was cheap. Cheap heat. There you go. Yeah, it was. It's like they just heard that a part of the Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, but never actually read the series. Infinity Rings, LOL. Infinity Stones, I'm sorry, right? I apologize. And DC movies are crappy booking. DC's movies, yeah. Yeah, how do you start with Death of Superman? Right? It's your subject. Go check. Gotta check this out later, says Eagle fan. Thanks. All right, look, that's a good point, Doc. In fact, Doc, can you come on? Can Mr. Doc come on right now to D Styles Boxing Channel? I want to say I can get at least one person on every day for this week. I got Joe Habib yesterday, right? Let's see if Mr. Doc could come on live and uncut here on D Styles channel. Well, we'll see. I'm waiting on the response, right? But it was like, how do you start with Doomsday, the death of Superman, Batman versus Superman? Like what is this? Like where do you go from there? Like he already died, right? How does Superman die, come back to life, right, for the next movie? Like where do you go from there? You know? First of all, that would have been an epic finish, right? If you would have done Justice League, the death of Superman, that shit would have sold, right? In fact, I think that would beat the Avengers if they did it right. It would beat it at the box office if they did it right. All right, Mr. Doc, send me your email on the chat. I'll send you an invite. How do you start with that? Doesn't make sense to me. Maybe Mr. Doc can explain to me what their reasoning was. I don't know. Maybe he will. Now, don't get me wrong. The fight scenes are great, right? I mean, that stuff's cool. Like seeing, like it's amazing what you could do with TV, like the movies today, man, and the technology that they have today. Yes, seeing Wonder Woman and Superman like really go at it with Doomsday was a great sight to see. But at the end of the day, it didn't mean it just wasn't the time to do it. It was just it was just a cheap reason to do it all. That's all. Yo, Mr. Doc, what's your email? Doesn't make sense. Actually, I got you. I found it. All right, I sent you the link, Mr. Doc. A link for Mr. Doc has been sent. I just sent it right now. I actually want to see if I can invite somebody else. I don't know if he'll be able to make it, but we'll see. Bear with me, guys. I think I see you, Mr. Doc. You there?
Yeah, what's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
What's going on? Give me your thoughts, man. Give me your thoughts. You there?
I'm pretty much in agreement with you, yeah.
What's that?
Especially, yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with what you've been saying. Yeah. It's like the whole, like, first of all, like the the Batman kryptonite thing, right? Okay, sure, it happened, but it happened when like Batman was like 50 years old in the comic books.
Right.
You see, you know what I mean? It was like, it's like on the verge of retirement and like, grooming, whoever's going to be his successor if he's going to have one, that
Right.
kind of shit. See what I mean? So not only did they rush it, like in terms of, you know what I mean, order of movies, but in terms of storyline, they're like, they got it all messed up. They got it all screwed up.
Let me ask you this. So, aside from the gadgets and the fact that he has a lot of money and therefore he could make these gadgets like his car or the Batmobile, I call it a car, but the Batmobile, okay, his freaking jets and just all this crazy. Aside from his gadgets and his suit and all that, right? Aside from that, what separates Batman from most superheroes? It's his brain, right?
Yeah, it's a combination of genius and insane obsession.
Right. So this is a dude who his intelligence, right? He's a great detective, right? His ability to understand little details and all this stuff, right? I mean, how dumb is this version of Bruce Wayne in Batman vs Superman?
That's what I'm getting at. And you even made the point. It wasn't even when like 50-year-old Batman finally decides, okay, you know what I mean? It's time to bust out the kryptonite on this dude, right?
Right.
It's because of exactly one of the scenarios you described. He's basically being manipulated by, I think it's Lex Luthor has managed to manipulate his way to like the presidency and shit. And he basically has fucking the last few remaining Kryptonians' lives literally in his hand. I won't give it all away for people that want to read it, right?
Right.
But the point is, you had it exactly nailed. It was a scenario where basically Superman was under control.
Right.
You see, and being forced to do what he wanted for the government's ends and to make Lex Luthor look good, blah, blah, blah.
Make no mistake about it. That's how smart Batman is. Batman always knew that even if it's a small chance, right? What if one day this dude who is way too powerful for me to fight him one-on-one in any way, shape, or form, right? Or any army in this planet, I need to have kryptonite stored in the Batcave in case this dude is either becomes evil or because Batman's seen enough good guys become evil in his lifetime, right?
Yes, and remember, he's obsessive.
And he's obsessive. But one of the big quotes in The Dark Knight, even though the Dark Knight movies have no connection whatsoever, even though they were just a couple years ago and so successful, right? They have no connection whatsoever to Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice or Justice League, right? But just the fact that it's just so frustrating that they had to rush it the way they did. There was just no need for it, none. They realized look at what Marvel did.
They jumped to the end. They jumped to the finish.
Yeah, they jumped to the finish, but it's obviously, I mean, this guy has. It's just the fact that like they could have led to a Batman versus Superman movie that would have been epic, right? And all they had to do was follow the comics.
Exactly. Yeah, and it would have been like you just described. They could have done all these movies in between. You know what I mean? That could be good.
And for anybody who's like, D-Style, your version is better. No, that's the comics version.
Yes, exactly. We're just laying out what they actually did, and like I said in your chat, it sounds like whoever made these movies, they just kind of heard some of the events that occurred in some of the story arcs, you know what I mean?
Right.
But didn't ever bother reading them. They're just like they just kind of picked and chose what they thought sounded cool.
No, am I wrong in saying that starting with Doomsday is just a terrible idea?
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, you jump into the finish. You're good. It's like having the blow off match, right at the beginning of the show.
And not only that, like the fact that Doomsday. Now, have you already seen the last Avengers movie?
I haven't watched it, but I read almost all of the relevant
All
comics.
right,
And I've heard, you know what I mean, plenty enough. So I'm not.
did you
Don't
hear
worry
what
about the
happened with
spoilers.
Hope? Did you hear what happened with
Yeah,
Hope? All
yeah.
right,
That was kind of funny.
that's what's supposed to happen with Superman. They stole the Doomsday Superman story, is what they did, right? So it's Doomsday doesn't get killed because Superman. Okay, that's not the way you. They can do it however they want, but that's not how it should have happened, right? It's first of all, Doomsday should have been like in the third, like Justice League movie. First of all, right?
At least third,
Right.
further out. If you
And if he's going to kill Superman, he's going to kill Superman fair and freaking square. So you show that this dude is for real, right? He's a real threat, right? Now, where you go from there, I mean, that's a different story, right? But that's I think it's just frustrating to me.
But not to
Right?
mention, and in the comics, they also built him up by having him mow through a whole shitload of other heroes. I mean, you know what I mean? I know. It sounds like
Right.
the pro wrestling correlation is weird, but it actually makes sense. It actually works
Right.
if you think about it. That's what they did exactly.
Yeah.
What you're they had to come out.
Look, movies and wrestling are.
You know what I mean? And JLA and all these dudes. You know what I mean? Just smashed them all before he even got to Superman. You see?
Look, it's the same thing, just different language, right? In wrestling, they call them heels.
Yes.
In movies, they call them protagonists. Like, you know what I mean? It's terms used. It's just they just use different terms.
Yeah,
but it's the same
the
idea.
point is, before Doomsday and Superman so much as laid eyes on each other, right? Doomsday had already been built up significantly.
They should have had Doomsday beat the shit out of Superman and have Superman be scared as shit, and then do what they do in every other movie, like he gets his confidence back or something like that. It's just they just put him on in the end. Like, what was he on for? Like 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's like what? And then that's the other thing. Yeah, the death of Superman itself, right, led to an entire separate story arc with the different versions of Superman. If you recall, there's like Superboy, and then there's like the Superwoman and the Cyber Superman, and so on. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the dude with the suit, Steel. Yeah.
Right. By the way, I didn't catch it that much. What was the point of, other than just showing up to help him fight Doomsday? What exactly was the point of Wonder Woman? I know that there's some connection with Bruce Wayne trying to reach out to her, right? Something like
that. Really, I have no idea. In comic terms, no idea what the hell they're doing there. Like the only really ironically the only interactions between those two is like in a romantic sense, and it's pretty much one-sided because Bruce Wayne doesn't do that, because Bruce Wayne is a mask for Batman more than the other way around. But again, we don't. Let's not digress.
Well, here's my thing. All right, first of all, the continuity is horrible here. Okay, because they're making this movie as basically it's a sequel to Man of Steel, right? I mean, pretty much. And they're using the same Wonder Woman from the Wonder Woman movie, right? Isn't it kind of premature to make the Justice League if you just had a very successful franchise with the Dark Knight trilogy?
Yeah, the whole thing's backwards. It's all backwards continuity-wise. Right. It's like, where are you gonna? It's all like you said. Where do you go after Doomsday? Brainiac.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. You're gonna have to do some serious.
By the way,
of Lex Luthor to get him over.
They've already handicapped Luthor because what could he do now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they have to. Anybody they bring in next, they're gonna have to kind of build him up, aren't they? Or to get him, for the people to be like, oh, this guy measures up to the kind of threat Doomsday was.
You know, Doomsday, you don't just, he basically made a cameo appearance. You know? He just kind of just popped up like, yo, I'm Doomsday, you know, and he just started just fucking shit up. And then they all piled up and ganged up on him. And then Superman sacrificed himself, you know, and I don't know if you think they thought to themselves, this is going to be so epic that Superman dies, you know, and then they give it away in the end when parts of the sand moves from the casket and stuff. So that you knew he was going to come back to life.
Yeah. Then, like you said, they don't even play it out. You know what I mean? Like they did in the comics, where they like left him dead for like I can't remember how long, like almost like maybe a calendar year, you know, and all this shit.
No, he just came back right off the bat.
So I'm saying, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just skipped all that shit, you know. And also, there's several other characters that tie in.
I forgot to mention really quick.
Like Green Lantern.
He survived the nuclear blast too. They emptied the clip on that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Just to clarify, I was just pointing out that also the whole death and return of Superman in the comics, it tied into several characters like Green Lantern, for example, and whatnot.
Yeah. You know, I don't. It's kind of like where's the It's I don't know. To me, they just wanted to have an answer for the whole Avengers thing, right? And they set themselves up for failure. That's all that happened, you know.
I think it's a combination. Yeah, a combination of that and the old adage that you hear in a lot of different types of arts, but mainly like in Hollywood and writing, which is so and so doesn't like the taste of anything until they pissed him. You know, it's not good enough to just follow, like, you know, like we're talking about. Hey, if you even just vaguely follow the continuity of the comics, it'll be good, right? No. That'd be too simple. You know what I'm talking about. They gotta piss in it, so they like the taste of it better.
Exactly. And where was Wonder Woman when Zod and them attacked? She's just
it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I thought she was around since like World War II. I'm confused.
Yeah, like what didn't she hear what they were doing to the planet? Like, what was she just chilling? Like, what's going on?
she just fucked off back to Amazon land. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they explained it. Maybe I just missed it. I don't know. That's possible. But there just seems to be something wrong with that picture. You know what I mean?
And I was dead serious. Like the Justice League animated series is better than that. I'm sorry, it just is.
Right.
It's just better.
Even the part where I didn't watch the animated series, but I did watch a clip of ironically while I was looking up some stuff about this. But where Batman, I guess all I understood was that they were going to have a vote whether Batman should still be in the Justice League. Right. And he said, well, I'm not going to, I'll just leave then. And but Superman did hand him the kryptonite after all. Like, I don't know if you ever saw that part.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. It's fairly early in the series.
Right. I mean, you know.
Yeah, they did a way better job of covering those kind of plot points. Like, right. I think what you're alluding to.
You know,
it's foreshadow, save it for later.
You know, it's like they have this awesome movie, The Dark Knight Rises, right? Highly successful. And then just shortly after that, they announced, we're going to have a brand new Batman. It's going to be played by, what's his name? Ben
just said it. Yeah. Now, forgive me. Who was the one right before that? The guy that died or the guy that replaced the guy that died? So I'm asking was it a change of necessity? Or
no. Well, Beale, what's the name of the dude that plays in Dark Knight?
Bale. It was something Bale. Bale? Yeah.
Christian Bale's still alive, isn't he?
I thought, well, I know one of them died. Yeah.
Well, the guy that died was
Joker. It's the Joker. My bad.
Right.
Okay, there we go.
So Joker died, but my point is, there was no intention at all to ever to get that Dark Knight Batman, have him join the Justice League. That just wasn't part of the deal, right? When they and that was my point at the very beginning of this video is when DC just concentrates on what they want to do, right? And they concentrate on, focusing on the characters they built, they do great, But every time they try to, for whatever reason, emulate Marvel, they just fail. Because you can't be Marvel. It's a whole different, it's a different style of, I guess,
they
way
got
of
to
doing
change
things.
everything around to do it too, didn't they? Is what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, changing who's playing Batman and all this just for the sake of trying to, do Marvel better than Marvel, which, like you say, that don't work. That don't work.
Right. I mean, it's no matter what they did, they were going to get accused of copying Marvel, right? I mean, because Marvel planned this thing out for a while. This was. I'm not sure at what point they knew. Yeah, we're going to get to this Avengers thing. I'm not sure when that was, but I know it was fairly early in the Thor movies and the Iron Man movies. And then they made a Captain America movie. They kind of just stuck to their guns with that, and then they just brought the Avengers together. So the way I see it, right, at the end of the day, is they should have done what I believe is they should have patiently waited till Marvel, right, was kind of emptying their clip, and people would have started to demand Justice League movies. Like there were not, nobody was demanding these movies because there was no way to make the movies,
That's that was going to say. Yeah, you hit on something there. They didn't wait for any kind of demand to build up, did they?
They just made the movie, or Batman versus Superman. Like, what?
Yeah, it's like preemptive strike and shit, right?
right. And then they're like, and then the Batman you just saw in Dark Knight, no connection whatsoever to the movie. That Batman is literally in another universe. It has nothing to do with this Batman. And which is fine, I guess, but it just seems rushed, and they just rushed the whole thing. Like, Bruce Wayne just wants to put a Justice League together. Okay, but the way I see it, I did like Did you like the Wonder Woman movie?
Haven't seen all that yet.
Right, I did like that movie myself. If you haven't seen it all, I would recommend it. But
so far, the individual movies, like you say, have, to me, anyways, come off better than, or less bad, whichever way you want to put it, than the Justice League movie.
Well, you know what? I liked Man of Steel. Like, I was a big fan of that movie. I still am a big fan of Man of Steel. But I think they did a great job with that movie. But where they kind of took over from there, I mean, when they did Dawn of Justice, all they did was empty the clip, and I think they felt like we're going to make this epic movie.
It was more like a giant plot leap. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's disappointing, man. It's very, very disappointing. And lazy writing. Did you like anything about Dawn of Justice? Anything you did like?
I mean, I can say I've seen worse, comic book movies.
Right.
But that's, what can I say, dude? Like I said, the animated series is better. Sorry.
Right.
Just how it is.
I did like the fight scenes. I mean, they were cool. They just had no substance to them, But I did want to ask you, what about because I thought the movie was trash. X-Men versus X-Men Apocalypse. What you think of that movie?
I've watched that one. I haven't seen it.
You haven't watched it? It's trash, right?
Okay, I've avoided trash then.
I mean, I was so disappointed. They got this dude Apocalypse, and it was such a disappointment of a movie. I mean, it's insane, right?
Apocalypse. It's, if I remember right, I like saw it, maybe it would be a trailer for it, and it was like, no, that's not Apocalypse.
Right.
It's like you said, like again, there was another good animated series based on uh, a comic book series. Was that '90s X-Men series? If you
Right.
remember that.
Yeah. I did like X-Men Days of Future Past. I think it could have been better, but I did like it.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that turned out better than I expected. I was like that. You see, like Days of Future Past, that's like something I'm like, oh man, they're gonna screw that all up. But yeah, it wasn't nearly as bad as I expected.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking to myself, like what could DC's next move possibly be? It's like, kind of, what's next? Crisis of Infinite Earths? I mean, what else is up from there, right?
Well, what about X-Men? What was the other one? First Class. I did like First Class.
Yeah, it was okay. That was okay.
But Last Stand was trash. Last Stand was just horrible.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, Marvel did have a little run there of substandard movies too.
Like the first X-Men movie. If I watch it today, it doesn't really hold up, to be honest. However, when I saw it, I mean, I could honestly argue the X-Men, the first movie, was the first movie that brought a lot of these Marvel characters to life. That's when people saw a movie of superheroes with that type of power and said, you know what, we could make a movie about that. It could look realistic.
Well, it wasn't done really crappily. Like seriously, but I'm struggling to think what we're like,
Right.
the other than Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman was pretty good. You know what I mean? And then other than that, most of them were always just like, face palm, like, oh God, what are they doing?
Yeah. And I also don't get like, well, why do the X-Men have to have black spandex on, like or like black, like they have to look like a SWAT team, like it's like I understand that you don't want them as colorful or whatever as the cartoons or comic books, but it's okay. I think the Avengers kind of prove that not all of them have to be wearing black,
Yeah, that first X-Men movie erred heavily on the side of caution in that regard.
And also, even though Hugh Jackman, is that his name, the guy that plays Wolverine?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing is the cast, because they had like a pretty, if I remember right, pretty noteworthy cast for that first X-Men movie. So they had to make it work,
Right. I mean, look, I appreciate Hugh Jackman, and I think he does a pretty good job, honestly. But I mean, in my opinion, that's not Wolverine. That's like Wolverine's like brother or older cousin or something. Like I don't know who that is, but that's not the Wolverine character I know. Wolverine is short, ugly, okay, stubby, right? And he's not like that dude would have taken the dude in the movie should have taken Jean Grey, right?
All right. See, now that's another thing is it has to be said that the first X-Men movie, at least to me and most people I knew, benefited in a way from how terrible most comic book movies before that were.
Right.
If you get me. It was like, oh, wow, what was it nearly as terrible as, we expected it to be. So it had very low expectations from most people that I knew.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's the X-Men. When they first made the X-Men, they didn't have a lot to work with. There wasn't a lot of successful Marvel movies out there, right? I mean, that's just the truth.
There wasn't a lot of successful comic book movies out there.
Aside from Batman, no.
Yeah, outside of Keaton Batman. Yeah. You could argue the Superman couple, first 2 or 3 of them.
Oh yeah, I mean they were a success, But
Christopher Reeve, yeah.
Yeah, that guy was Superman. You know what I mean? It's everybody knew who he was for a long time. But ironically, it's I don't know how successful was like the early. You remember like that Hulk movie from like the 80s?
Successful TV series, not so much as a movie.
Well, TV series. I'm sorry. Yeah. Swamp Thing TV series, was it? It was all right.
Yeah, but that was like early Sci-Fi Channel, wasn't it, or was that USA?
I don't remember.
Damn.
But I
Yeah,
just
yeah. It was good, but kind of like a niche show, if you get me.
right, definitely. And then not only that, I mean, if you look at Batman movies, right? You had that Batman and Batman Returns that were like dark, and then you had like the Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, which was just
Oh my
trash,
god,
right?
terrible,
And,
terrible.
and everybody nobody took superhero movies that serious anymore after that. And the first X-Men movie kind of turned that around, And then of course the Spider-Man movies, I mean, that was a huge
That's good.
turn as well with Tobey Maguire. It's he's still
Yeah. I don't mean to put those movies down. I think what we're trying to do is provide some context. I mean, they were better
right.
than just good, but all they had to do was be decent, and they would have gotten over.
Oh, definitely, because there was they were able to open that Pandora's box, But most definitely, the expectations now, they're just higher, especially with the type of what they could do with CGI nowadays, and I mean it's insane, right?
Yeah,
So
it wasn't too. I mean, think about it's like got to be what, a few dozen that they've made in the last 5 to 10 years. It
right,
seems like a ton, like just a ton, and it seems like they've crammed a ton in the last 2 or 3 years in particular. Like
right.
15 years ago, that would have been unthinkable. If someone said, "Oh, they're going to make a Green Lantern movie, Guardians of the Galaxy," we would have been like, "That's going direct to DVD." You know what I mean?
That's the other thing. Like it's like DC has no faith in their characters. They could have made a movie. Like, have they made a movie about the Green Lantern?
I think they made one, you know, kind of crappy, maybe okay one, and then other than that, it's been animated, I think.
Right, right.
And if they have, like I think what you're alluding to is they've been direct to DVD. If they have, or it seems that way.
Straight to DVD. That's for sure. Let's just like the old. Remember that terrible Captain America movie?
Direct to tape, yes, and with the also equally terrible Red Skull.
Or the movie The Punisher that was not even that character, The Punisher.
Oh, dude! Oh, it had what's his name? Red Scorpion. Oh God. Yeah, it was dude. He played it. He was in Rocky. I must break you.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Was that even based? Was that by Marvel, or was that just a movie called The Punisher? I don't even know to this day. Like,
yeah, and I'm trying to remember the what's his name? Oh, guy.
yeah.
Both the characters. The actors are like so obvious. I can't believe I can't remember their names. Oh, this is terrible.
Let's see here. Somebody just put BLKCs says DC movies are dark and sort of realistic. Dark Knight trilogy was better than anything Marvel has done. Now, I do love the Dark Knight trilogy. What do you think about that, Mr. Doc?
I don't know. They're not. I'm not going to say they're bad. They are good, but I'm a big fan of Batman, the comic book series.
Right.
Without getting into it, I have, it could be a lot better, in my opinion.
Oh, of course. To this day, I haven't seen a movie where I say to myself, "Oh shit, that's Bruce Wayne." I mean, I haven't seen it, but it's. I think the storytelling, though, to me, was real good.
Yeah, they're good movies. They are good movies. There's no getting around that. They're good movies. You know what I mean? So I always try to take, well, not even just comic book movies, but just for the sake of this conversation, with comic book movies,
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be, how I compare them to the source material, but I do try to give them the benefit of, in a vacuum, what do I think of them as well.
Right. So let's say, Mr. Doglin, let's say that DC had contacted you personally, right?
All right.
And before they even made the Dawn of Justice, before that happened, and they said, "Look, we need to make the Justice League. So what do we do? What would you tell them to do first?"
First of all,
First order of business.
First order of business is this whole like Death of Superman, Doomsday shit is gonna wait. Like wait. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to hear about that crap right now. You know, first you got to come up with it. You know, give me somebody a little lower down the power level, right? And we're gonna use that as our sort of impetus to sort of provoke the thought in Batman's head. You see what I mean?
Right.
You know, just come roll in his Batmobile, going, "All right, we're gonna do this Justice League thing." You know what? You know, you can't. That's a bit. You know what I mean? Come on, we can be a little subtler than that, can't we?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, if they wanted somebody to die, like they could have had somebody else die.
In the animated series, the Flash dies.
Yeah. I mean, I would have saved the death of Flash. I would have had Superman kill him.
Well, because they have like it's what they do in the animated series is they have like Superman and some of the other Justice League members from a different dimension, right? Where they're pretty much bad guys that run everything.
Right.
They come in and take over, see? You know. But again, they wait till late in the series.
I don't know how that would work in a movie, but
it was that was more of a sort of them truncating Crisis on Infinite Earths. But anyway, I'm just using it as an example to make the point.
All right, so first order of business, we're not going to have Superman die. Okay, that's number one. Okay, in the first movie, where we're just introducing the thought of a Justice League, right?
I mean, like, if you want to have some like low level, character die again along the lines of making an impetus for provoking the thought in Batman's head of, hey, we need something more organized here,
right?
So this doesn't happen. You need some kind of incident, But Superman dying is not the incident we're looking for.
Definitely not. Okay, I mean, could you imagine Vince McMahon giving away just Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan? Okay, on TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was having
rather than WrestleMania, waiting for WrestleMania.
Who's booking this stuff for DC? Like,
who's the booker, man?
Kevin Sullivan could make these movies better than these guys. Right?
but you can't have a dude like, how could where do you go from there? Like Superman died, dude. Like we already know if he dies, he'll come back. Like, I mean,
exactly. Yes, good point. Exactly.
So we're not gonna mourn as much. We just gotta wait. Like, hey, Lois Lane. Hey, Lois, it's all right. He'll be back. All right, don't worry about it. Yeah, but like, look, okay. First of all,
it'd be like the first Saturday night's main event if they just had Hogan come out and beat Andre clean. It's like, who are you putting him in the ring with now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, now what are you going to do with
it? Right. I mean, this is insane. All right. Well, speaking of comic book movies, what do you think of Deadpool?
Better than previous efforts.
Have you seen the last Deadpool? The second one, that is.
No.
You can't really say the last one, like when there's only been two, I guess, right? But so I won't do any spoilers, but I like it. You know what I like about the Deadpool movies? There's nothing elaborate about the storyline, right?
Well, it's not supposed to be. That's right. Deadpool's very not elaborate as a comic book series,
right? And then the characters don't take themselves that serious. That's the other thing. Maybe they try a little too hard to be funny at times in the Deadpool movies. Some of the stuff falls a little flat, in my opinion. But I mean,
I'd again argue that's, to be fair, true to the comic book series.
Well, that's true.
At least in terms of Deadpool himself, you know what I mean? He's
I agree. And the other thing about the Deadpool movies, they go out of character a lot. They break kayfabe here and there. But I know how to. So okay. So first order of business, right? We're not going to have Superman die. Okay, we're not going to introduce Doomsday. Okay, in the very first movie here.
Yeah. Okay, we just need something.
And we're not going to have him survive a nuclear blast. Okay.
Yeah, that can wait. That can wait. Save that. Save the chair shot for later.
Right? I mean, it's just like oh look, Iron Man uses a nuclear weapon to destroy all these aliens, so we're going to show them that our aliens more powerful. We'll have them survive a nuclear blast. Like yeah, I don't know, but like it was just kind of weak to me. But and we're not going to do Superman versus Batman just for a random dumb reason, right?
No. Now, if you want to make a point of, during the process of recruiting Superman, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, right, to this whole Justice League idea. Now, if you want to, in the process, show him, you know what I mean, having a contingency, no problem. That's a wonderful foreshadowing, you know what I mean? But you're still saving that, for later. Because in the comics, make no mistake, like I said, Batman's obsessive. Not only does he got kryptonite, he's got something for everybody. Right. He's got a file. Oh, he's got a file on everyone.
He's got a file on everybody. He's studying their weaknesses.
Yes,
okay, all that stuff. Here's what I think. I think that. So I agree with you. First order of business, we're not going to do all that crap. Okay, that's not going to happen. Okay, right off the bat. Okay, that's number one. I would have.
You need a threat and or incident that basically it reinforces the idea that there needs to be more organization.
Yes, and you could have built up the friction between Batman and Superman, right? Like the idea of justice to both Batman and Superman, they have two different philosophies. They didn't even touch on that. It's
the nature of crime in their two respective cities is entirely different itself.
Right. The type of criminals they face are just different, right? I would have personally, this is going to sound dark as hell, but I would have, if this would have been based where like Robin already exists, right? And I would have had Robin die. They want somebody to die, would have Robin die in the first movie.
Perfect. There you go.
And I would have had Joker kill him. Right? You put Joker in the first movie, man. That's what you do. Right? And you have Superman not take him serious and Batman tell him somewhere in the movie, hey, don't underestimate this guy. Right? And you have Joker get a hold of kryptonite. How does that sound?
There you go. There you go. There you go. Yes. And then just so Robin dies basically while he's under the protection or under the whatever, he's with Superman off doing whatever.
You have him kill Robin with a baseball bat. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And then towards the end of the movie, you have Superman all weakened due to the kryptonite because he was underestimating. If he's going to underestimate somebody, have it be Joker, and have it be somebody like that who's going to really take advantage of it, and have him beat the shit out of Superman with a baseball bat, just like he was doing to Robin. And people think, holy shit, he might just kill the guy. And then Batman could save the day or something. I don't know. It's just an idea that just came to my head. Right?
Well, that goes back to something I mentioned, which is the difference in the nature of the crime. Batman deals with batshit insane, villains. Right. They're not just villains, out to do whatever. They're also nut jobs on top of that, because that's kind of one of the cool things about Gotham
with mob mentalities.
Yes.
Hold on, mobster mentalities.
Yes, right? Yes. But first and foremost, they're crazy in some way or another. Because that just seems to be the way it works.
And Batman has a little bit of crazy himself.
Exactly. Like I said, that seems to be the way things work in Gotham. Right. The nature of the place is even different. So, yeah, it's like I can see that. Batman trying to reinforce to him, no, this guy's crazy, but Superman not getting the magnitude of it. You know what I mean? He's like, just a crazy person with no superpowers. No Superman. Right. And then he finds out the hard way. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. I mean, there's a million ways it could have tied. Because I would have
or better yet, he tries to tell Superman to wait till he gets there. And Superman's like, yeah, right. I'm crazy. You know what I mean? Nothing could happen. Then Robin dies, you see.
Exactly. Right. And if you want to have Batman blame Superman for the death of Robin, then there's a reason they could fight. right? But you don't just randomly just have them fight. Okay, this is absolutely insane.
You got to make it kind of, it's like, yeah, Superman didn't listen, but Superman didn't, none of them expected him to have kryptonite, but Batman did say, wait, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's the kind of friction that can build up slowly if you want it.
So this would have been very controversial, and a lot of DC fans would not like this. But if they wanted to make like, you could have still called it Dawn of Justice, I guess. It's a cool name for a movie. But I would have, since Wonder Woman already had her solo act movie, right? And since Superman already had Man of Steel, then you have to of course we know who Batman is, right? But if we had never seen another Batman movie, if he wasn't the iconic character that we all know he is, like, there's no way we would know who the hell this guy is, right? So like in school when they would make you write an essay about George Washington or something like that, right? It's right. What would the teacher always say? Write about him as if I have no idea who this guy is, right? You have to reintroduce Batman to people, right? Who is this Batman?
Especially if it's going to be a new actor and you're going to have, some basic changes and, you know what I mean,
Right.
takes on the character and what have you. Yeah.
Exactly, right? I mean, the reality is you have to have, to a certain degree, right? You have to reintroduce it. So it would have been very Batman-centric, this movie, right? And I would have had a Batman villain, okay, be the main protagonist in this movie. Okay, that's what I would have done. And if you wanted to do something crazy, if you wanted to do something that would have caught people off guard, if you really wanted to break people's hearts with a death of a character, then they could have. I mean, I don't know what you think about this idea, but they could have gone with the kill and joke thing.
Oh yeah, where he paralyzes Barbara Gordon.
There you go. I mean, there's many things it could have done here, right? And you could, of course, tie Superman into this in some way. I mean, I don't know how you would do that. Okay, but I kind of explained earlier a little bit, but that's what I would have done, right?
Or heck, you could have done that and just set up what happens later with Robin so that, you know what I mean, the people watching get what Batman gets. You see what I mean?
Right.
That no, Superman, don't play with that guy. You know what I mean? You better, you should have waited.
Or they could have had a flashback about it or something, right?
Sure.
It didn't have to be like in the present time of the movie, but they could have done something with that, right? I don't know. If it's a different Batman, there could be a different Joker. I think that's just something they could have done, right? I think it would have been cool, in my opinion, right? And it would have been a good excuse and reason to somehow bring Batman and Superman in the same mix here, right? And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but wouldn't it have made more sense for Superman to be the one kind of iffy about this Batman character?
In some ways, I suppose. It depends on, again, depends on, what version of Superman you want to go with. How, you know what I mean? How recently is he gotten to
even
Earth,
though Superman in his own way is vigilante, right? But I'm not sure if that's the best way to describe Superman. But that's a perfect way to describe Batman, right?
Yeah. See, Superman could do whatever he wanted. It just happens that what he wants to do isn't really, you know what I mean, contradictory to people.
I mean, Superman isn't really flying around Metropolis, just finding criminals and locking them up. It's not what he's doing. There's no micro, managing of criminals with Superman, right? It's just not happening. He doesn't have. I mean, well, actually, he does have. If he runs into something, like Superman is more of a let me go save people from a hurricane type of character, or
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Deals with disasters or things that it brought
at a more macro scale, because that's what his powers entail. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Batman is more micro. He's there, like in Gotham, fighting specific criminals, doing specific things, mainly to his city. Or corrupting his city or whatnot. But I would have done something along with that. And I'm sure if you get a lot of great minds, they could have come up with a much better story than you had. Right?
Or not to mention something with a bit of pacing.
Right. And that's the type of bad guy you start with. You don't start with Doomsday. Right. So anyway, they could have gone from that.
You could have started with Joker and then have be like, okay, who was it behind Joker, and then you kind of work your way up the tree, so to speak.
Yeah, they could have done something like that. In my opinion, I think. And if you wanted to have a Batman versus Superman in the next movie, fine. Okay. But they could have done something where Lex Luthor was controlling Superman or something, right? Or some other force or something, and Batman had no choice but to fight him.
There's another option. Lex Luthor, it's just going to be Lex Luthor organizing criminals,
right?
Because he did that in the comic book series. Organizes some of the major criminals into an organized group, or requires the heroes to become more organized.
Right. Well, that would be too much like the comics.
Oh, that was silly ass, right?
Right. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, they definitely missed the boat on this one, in my opinion. Right. DC just messed up bad. Right. And I don't know. Do you think they could recover from this? I don't think they can.
What do we mean by recover? I mean,
like you think the next, can the next Justice League movie be like, oh, okay, they redeemed themselves? Is there anything they could do?
Maybe, but what matters to me is that overall, what you said earlier, the standards have clearly been raised.
The standards have been raised, and they're way behind right now.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if the next Justice League. It depends on how long they wait. I think they're going to have to kind of, like we were saying earlier, they're not going to like it, but they're kind of going to have to reboot it, aren't they? Or you know what I mean? They're going to have to do something else in them for a couple of years, because they can't just do that again.
They should just make a movie where Superman wakes up and it was all a dream.
That's what I was saying. Crisis on Infinite Earths, where it's a whole bunch of alternate realities that they've got to kind of collate into one. That's kind of their only option right now.
They could have done that, man. That's what I would have done. All right. It's this whole, it just ain't working out, man. It just ain't working out. I mean, they got to reboot the X-Men, in my opinion.
Oh, well, Marvel, yeah.
Well, Marvel doesn't own X-Men. You know that, right?
I didn't know that. No.
They're owned by Fox.
Ah, interesting.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Marvel could still make X-Men comics, right? But Marvel has no say on the X-Men. They have no say whatsoever on the X-Men. In fact, that's the reason why, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the Avengers cannot mention mutants in any way, shape, or form.
I'll be damned.
Right. Which is why you'll never see Wolverine in the Avengers or something, or the story behind Silver Surfer and Scarlet Witch is just different. In the
Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing, Fox. In that case,
right. And then they also sold the rights to Spider-Man to Sony, but they actually have to rent Spider-Man. They have to rent their own character to be in the Avengers.
Damn, did times get that hard, Marvel?
Yeah, Marvel did go through bankruptcy in the mid-90s. And that's when they sold the rights to the X-Men. And then Fox, of course, as you know, started the animated series.
I was just thinking that, yeah, which was really good. It has to be said, at least to me. I thought it holds up okay. It actually holds up okay to me.
There's some silly things about it, but overall, I like it.
Yeah, given that it's from the 90s,
I think they're great. Actually, I mean. The whole, I mean, it's they'll never make an animated series like that anymore, where like Morph dies in the first.
Oh yeah. That's let's not. We could do a whole separate hangout about PC and shows that we used to see that wouldn't even make it to TV now.
Yeah, this I'm like, damn, remember like the way they had Rogue and Storm and. There's no way to have characters like that on cartoons now. There's just no way. And then you had Gambit make obvious sexual advances at Rogue. I mean, you're just not going to get that in cartoons now, you know?
Yeah, Gloria Allred wouldn't be having that.
Right. You know, it's. By the way, like what? Where the hell's Gambit? Like, you know, they haven't made anything with him in movies.
Yeah, I thought I could have sworn he like made it into one movie and then disappeared.
No, I haven't seen Gambit at all. Not in the X-Men movies. I haven't seen the movie Logan yet because I was so disappointed with the Wolverine movies. So
yeah, that was a lot of those Wolverine movies are just kind of why are you guys making these?
I mean, all you got to do is follow the blueprint. You know, it's in the comic books. That's all you got to do.
No, D style, you don't understand.
Well, they're popular for a reason. You know, that's why break from that.
Yeah, I know exactly. They pay this money to use this IP. Yeah, exactly. And then they just throw the IP out the window and decide to rewrite.
No, I understand that they have to make some changes because hey, a 2-hour movie and a series of comic books, you know, it's different room, right? There's different bandwidth there to tell a story, but I think the overall formula should be there, you know.
Yeah, there's ways to do things within the bounds of reason.
Right. I mean, there just is. All right. Are you a fan of Game of Thrones?
I just haven't watched it, to be honest. I couldn't tell you. Haven't watched it. Haven't read it.
Got no clue. All right.
Yeah, I'm just kind of
Well, man, I'm gonna head out here, but I do want to thank you for coming on. All right.
Yeah, it was interesting stuff. I appreciate it, dude.
You have any final thoughts regarding DC and the Justice League?
Stick to animation, DC. Just stick to animation. You're way better at that.
Stick to animation. Well, do you think it's just that DC characters are just better for animation? Or you think they just haven't done it right?
I don't know. You know what I mean? That's kind of one of those.
Oh, wait, well, did you like Man of Steel?
I said, Man of Steel was okay. I'm not the big Superman fan, though, to be fair. So, but it wasn't bad. And the Dark Knight movies, they weren't, while I have issues with them, as a hardcore Batman fan, in a vacuum, good movies.
What about this really quick? Did you like the movie Superman Returns? About a decade ago.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Don't think. No, I don't remember that one.
Oh, okay.
Back when they made the N64 game for it and shit.
I don't remember what they made for it, but I know it was it didn't do as good as they thought it was going to do, And then they they didn't really continue with that, and then they just started Man of Steel, So what are you going to do? But yeah, man, I think.
To be honest, the biggest problem is just all stuff that we've talked about. All of it's in a way, or to put it a certain way on paper. It's just writing, pacing, where they decided to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know I said I got a little more time here. Are you in a rush?
Not at the moment. All
right, let's check it out. If they already have the comic books as a, what would be the term? I guess a framework, whatever, right? They already have something they can, a reference. There we go. Something they could refer to, like when in doubt. Well, there's the comics, right? Or even books in some cases.
That's what we'd like to think, at least, right?
Right. How could they get it so wrong with a lot of these movies? Do you think it's the fact that these directors are focusing more on, just like in wrestling, right, the casuals, than they are the hardcore fans? Do you think, like, in their mind, it's like, okay, I got to make a movie about, Superman, or Batman or whatever, but I have to make sure that grandma likes this movie as well. I don't want it to be silly, like I don't want it to be looked at as a silly comic book movie. I got to really make it a real serious adult movie as well, and give the kids a good experience as well. Like, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I think there's ego involved to a degree with the writers, just in terms of the writers, and a lot of times they're they've been doing they're Hollywood writers for decades now. You know what I mean? So they're gonna think they know better. Plus, there's the ego thing of any writer, any artist of they got to piss in whatever they're working with a little bit, even the good ones, even the ones that do it well. They're gonna put their little spin on things. You know what I mean? That's just artistic ego. So you got that going on, and I think what you were alluding to there, I use the term focus group, over focus group.
Right.
It's like I feel like that's been going on in Hollywood for a while. Almost everything's just been focus grouped to death, and it's led to a bit of things becoming just kind of, I won't say stagnant, but very samey. Even across different genres of movies, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, this is getting too, everything's too much alike.
Everything's too much alike. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that the problem with music today is, the singer-songwriters basically dead. It's not. I mean, they're out there, but they're just not the ones getting all the attention. But
pop music's always had ghostwriters. If you're talking about what's going to make, I don't even know, does top 40 radio even exist anymore? I mean, what do they use to measure that shit?
They still do all that, but it's just not relevant anymore. It's
what I'm saying. Yeah, I can't. Even I don't listen to much radio, and most people nowadays, I can't imagine. Like most people that are like under the age of maybe 30, maybe 25, somewhere in there, probably have never listened to radio in their life, I'd figure.
Right. I'm also kind of I did want to ask you really quick. Did you watch the Cobra Kai series?
Not yet, but I heard about it. The Karate Kid spinoff, right?
Yes. I do recommend that to people because I am going to do a review about that tomorrow.
Okay, so now you're the second person that I've heard from say it's pretty good, so I'll definitely be checking that out.
Well, first of all, you have to like the Karate Kid movie. It's not. It's you have to have some type of, there has to be kind of a, because you're going to be hit with nostalgia a lot. You know what I mean? So there is a nostalgia effect as far as, for me anyway, in liking the movie so much. Or not the movie, the series.
If I had hated all the Karate Kid movies, I wouldn't care about it. Yeah.
Right. You could probably still like it even if you didn't like the Karate Kid movie, but you'll probably just think it's okay, Whereas if you grew up with Karate Kid, there's a huge nostalgia here, So that's the reason I like it personally. But man, I do want to thank you for coming on here and giving us your thoughts and helping me bash DC.
No problem. Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I appreciate it as always, dude.
Yeah. All right, man. This is D-Style and Mr. Doc, and we're signing out. Peace.
Peace.